What's up, guys? I'm Josh and I Live Things. I'm here to talk about RDAs, RDIs, and a whole lot of other acronyms. Before we get into it, I got glasses. Astigmatism sucks, so that's cool. Also, ignore the neck. I just had a sleep study done last night, and they had to tape a whole lot of electrodes to me, and I don't think my skin liked it. If you'd like to optimize your diet, which will result in more testosterone, better recovery, and more muscle building, then getting your micronutrients is really important. But how do you decide how much is enough? How much is too much? Well, let me help you out. First off, let me give some history and explain some basic definitions. During World War II, the National Academy of Sciences created the RDA, or the Recommended Dietary Allowances. They did this so that the US population and its soldiers were strong enough to fight. Then every 5 to 10 years, give or take, they decided to change the RDA in case new evidence came out. They would take into account things like portion sizes, food availability, and a lot more. Then in 1997, about 50 years after the original creation, they created the DRI, or the Dietary Reference Intake. This new system had tons of other acronyms inside of it, and I'll explain those quickly. The estimated average requirements, or EAR, are numbers that satisfy the needs of 50% of people in that age group. They created a new and improved RDA, of which the Food and Nutrition Board of the Institute of Medicine says meets the requirements of 97.5% of all the population. This number is calculated using the EAR and is typically about 20% higher. The adequate intake, or the AI, is... Oh, Jesus Christ! The adequate intake, or the AI, is used when insufficient evidence is found as to what the proper amount is, but can kind of be guessed. The tolerable upper intake levels are the amount of a nutrient that would cause harm when you reach it, like in the case of vitamin A or selenium. This number again says that 97.5% of the population can consume that amount with no problems. Now you think we're done, right? Wrong. This is actually just in America, and we still haven't even covered all the American acronyms. We still have the RDI and the DV. The RDI stands for the Reference Daily Intake, which, much like the RDA, is considered sufficient for about 97 to 98% of the population. The RDA is used to determine the DV, or the daily value of foods, which is what's printed on nutrition facts all over America. And Canada too, I guess. This is regulated by the FDA, or the Food and Drug Administration, and by Health Canada, the department of the Canadian government. The original regulations on food labels specified a percentage US RDA, which was published in 1968. Later, this percentage US was renamed to the DV, and the RDAs became the RDIs. The RDAs, and I know it's getting confusing, were updated regularly, but the RDIs never changed, all the way up until 2016. That's right, from 1968 to 2016, we based all of our dietary choices off of information that was disproven or outdated decades prior. But even with the government agencies changing the RDI and DV, doesn't mean that everything got caught up fast enough. I mean, think about it. All of these businesses now have to conform to these new regulations. And thanks to COVID, the deadline for all of these companies changing their food labels was pushed back to January 1st of 2020 for larger companies, and in January 1st, 2021 for smaller companies. And who knows how they decide what is a large or a small company. But once again, this is only in America and Canada. There's a whole lot more of the globe to cover. From the European Food Safety Authority, or the EFSA, Dietary Reference Values, DRVs, is an umbrella term for a set of nutrient reference values that include the average requirement, AR, the population reference intake, PRI, the adequate intake, AI, and the reference intake range for macronutrients, RI. These values guide professionals on the amount of a nutrient needed to maintain health in an otherwise healthy individual or group of people. DRVs also include the tolerable upper intake levels, UL, which is the maximum amount of a nutrient that can be consumed safely over a long period of time. So this obviously doesn't cover any Asian, African, or South American countries, doesn't consider any states, villages, towns, whatever guidelines, and doesn't get into the complexities of someone who's pregnant, someone who's breastfeeding, someone with some disorder that limits digestion, absorption, or bioavailability of nutrients, or anything else. Are you confused? Good. Me too. But hopefully this will serve as a nice starting point to the concept of a government recommended nutritional intake. And should be a nice segue into my next video, why RDAs suck. And guys, that's the video. If you like this style of content, you can obviously follow all of these socials and join my Discord. I post exercise content twice a day, every single day. The links are in the description. If you made it this far, maybe leave a comment. It really helps out the channel. You can like and subscribe. Also really helps out. I'll leave some links in the description so you can read more about the history of all this. And as always, thank you so much for watching and have a great day.